All right, welcome back everybody to the channel. Thanks for watching. Tuning in, remember to subscribe, like, all that good stuff. So today's project will be repairing this Kia wheel. It's got that, let me get a rag real quick. All right, as you can see here, we got some curb rash. And this has that Hypersilver finish. It's like a two-tone wheel. You know what? Let me get some better lighting. I think the ambient light's too bright, and it's not letting me see this thing right on the camera. Let me do a little bit of cleaning here. It's kind of got that semi-reflective finish to it, and I'll show you exactly how I'll get this to match. So this will get smoothed out. First step. Second step, we'll primer. Third step, we'll smooth that primer out. Then we'll spray it with some jet black base coat, and then we'll do the fine metallic, and then finally the clear coat, because this finish is clear coated. Some of them are not. All right, so one of the first and most important things to do here is to completely decontaminate the wheel. So I'm gonna spray some Purple Power degreaser, available at Walmart. So I am going to let this soak in some purple spray. I'll brush it. You know, I'll brush the tire especially, because I will not be taking the tire off. So I will brush the tire. I'll make sure I get rid of any tire shine that's been on it in the past. And then I'll pressure wash everything off. And once that's clean, we'll get it mounted on the stool, and I'll start getting work on it. So I'm not going to videotape the whole washing process. Pretty straightforward. Just soak it all in. Just spray douse the whole thing with Purple Power, let it soak for a little bit, then scrub it. And now you have a nice clean wheel. So that's the first thing you're gonna need to do if you're trying to do a wheel repair or paint or anything like that. Decontamination is one of the most important things, especially if you don't want that paint to peel off. So, all right, so let's get started. This wheel is nice and clean. And I like to use a rotating stool. Makes things very easy to work with. Now, even though I cleaned out this wheel and this tire, I could still feel a little bit of residue, and you can kind of see. So the next step is, before I get started, luckily these things are removable. So I'm going to flip the tire around, and I'm going to take these off. I'm going to end up having to refinish the whole wheel, but I'm also going to let the air out, take the valve stem off, let the air out, and this will open up this gap a little bit, and I'll be able to put the tape in there. You could take the tire off, but you take the tire off, then you run the risk of damaging the paint when you mount the tire back on, and you also have to balance it. So I am going to skip that step, and I'm just going to make sure that I get access to wrap the paint around back here. So anyways, I'm going to get started. Very easy. It's going to make the job a lot easier. Oh, it looks like I'm going to have to wash this thing again. All right, so I'm going to have to, do me a favor, get me one of those white rags. I'm going to have to clean this out again. You can see that there is black. You can see the black under this base. All right, so this particular color comes with a dark base underneath, and then you spray the Hypersilver on it. So we'll see that in a minute here. And so I'm going to start, I'm going to get this cleaned out. And then some prep all last. So everything has to be very clean before you even start working on this. All right, so basically, I just got some prep all. This is basically dirt and wax remover and all that good stuff. Before I even get started on sanding or anything like that, man, I just want to decontaminate. CJ, you should have some gloves on. You should definitely have some gloves on, because then all you're doing is transferring the oils from your hand to the panel. And I'm also going to run some of that cleaner here, right up in here is very important, because there is a lot of residue from tire shine and stuff that goes in there. As you can see. So I want to make sure I address that really well. All right, so I'm going to be using the classic Harbor Freight angle grinder. I'm going to be changing this. But more important, some eye protection. You don't want a shard of metal bouncing off somewhere and flying right into your eye. I also got some earplugs, and I have a respirator. And so I'm going to start grinding this out. And I think I'm going to start off with a 60 grit disc. All right, so I'm going to tape up this area to avoid trying to hit the wheel so much. Or, I'm sorry, the tire. I don't want to gouge the tire. I'm usually pretty good about not doing that. So, but I still add a couple. This masking tape's fairly thick. As you can see, the tape is sticking really nice. So we know that tire is very nice and clean. So maybe 2 or 3 pieces. And that should save me from gouging the tire. I am going to grind past the area. Okay, so because if I start grinding this down, then you're going to have a lower spot. You want to create the illusion that there is no lower area. So it's important to keep this moving. You don't want to stop when you got this, because then you'll create a gouge in the metal. And as you can see, the 60 grit is eating away at it very, very easily. Very soft metal. And we're getting close. All right, I'm going to switch up to a lower grit. I still got a tiny low spot right here. We'll see if I start going to the lower grits. Whatever's left, I'll just do a tiny fill with something else. Grabbing the 120 now. So we started off at 60, going with a 120. I think I need to change this thing. There's a gap here for some odd reason. Something's not right. Doesn't, yeah, I can't be too accurate with this. Matter of fact, I'm going to change this real quick. Perfect. All right, back to it. This is going. All right, so now it's nice and flush. Yeah, I don't know why I started using that other one. I know better. Now I can get more precise. So here we go, back to the 120. All right, so I just got a tiny little tiny gouge left. I don't want to dig anymore. I'm just going to start smoothing out the metal now. And then I will just do a tiny little dab of some putty on there. It's very small. Just a little razor blade's worth. All right, one of these discs here to smooth things out further. Alright, so now that I'm done with the high-speed grinding, I will be moving on to further refining the area with some 320 grit sandpaper. And so I will use that to smooth everything out, to get everything uniform. Once that's done and I'm happy with the way it looks, I'll move on to some 400 grit sandpaper, and then I'll start sanding down on the spokes and the surrounding area where the primer is going to land. And I want to make sure that everything is sanded properly so the primer sticks. Alright, so now this is all smoothed out. I still got to fill that little bit in right there. I'm going to use a gray scuff pad. I'll leave a link in the description below to all the items I'm using, and you'll be able to get those directly from Amazon. Yes, that is an affiliate link. So I'm just going to scuff everything, remove all the gloss from it, so then I can go ahead and apply the primer. This will be a black spray can primer, and this will be ideal for this exposed area. I'm going to tape the wheel up, tape the valve stem, and then I'll have that ready to prime. Once that's done, I'll let the primer dry, sand the primer down, and get this ready to do some black base coat, and then we'll clear coat the whole wheel. So here we go. Alright, so this thing's ready for some primer. Look how colorful this thing looks. Amazing, amazing. Alright, so normally on something like this, because it has a black base, you're going to want to do a black primer. But I did run out of black, so I'm going to use the gray. And this is going to get base coat in black anyway, so it'll work out. And you can see I've sanded a little nick right there. It's nicely feathered out and filled in. Alright, so I'm going to cover part of the wheel where I don't want any excess primer. Alright, so here it is. So you just want to make sure, do a little test spray. And we're going to do several thin coats. All right, I'm going to let that dry. Once that's done, on the next step, it would just be lightly sanding it with some 600. It'll be ready for me to do the black base, clear coat, and then we'll let that dry, and then we'll come back tomorrow and finish out the Hypersilver. So I'm just gonna hit it with a heat gun to accelerate the drying process, and then I'm gonna start getting set up so I can start spraying these wheels. All right, so let's get it. So we're ready to spray the black base. I'm gonna use a mini HVLP. It's gonna be just a 1mm tip, and I'm gonna black out this area where the primer is. You can see I got plenty of room to get some paint back in that right before the tire bead, right in between the tire bead and the wheel. So, all right, I'm gonna get started, and then once the black base coat is in, it is just a matter of applying the clear coat nicely, and then the Hypersilver. Alright, so this is it. That's pretty much it. I'm gonna let this splash off, I don't know, maybe about 20-25 minutes. So the base coat is finally dry, and now it's time for the clear coat. All right, so this wheel, the clear coat's been drying for about, but this was last night, so I don't know, just under 12 hours, roughly. And so I'm getting ready to spray the Hypersilver on it. And this is BASF Diamond's D121. Now, there are other companies that sell something similar. If I can find one where you can order online, I'll leave a link in the description below. And basically, it's a very fine metallic. It's very fine. And you can get many different effects depending on which underlying color there is. So in this case, black. If you put it under white, you'll have a more of an aluminum look. If you put it under different colors, you will see a hint of the underlying color. So, and I'm going to spray this on through a 1mm tip, just a very fine mist. It's all you need. This stuff goes a very long way. So, all right, I'm going to get started. I'm going to pour some of this. It's already reduced and ready to go. I'm going to pour some of this on the paint gun. I'm going to get started. All right, so here we go. Just a very light mist. And you can see all right, so if you take a look right now, you almost have this black chrome type of look. So, you know, it depends how many layers you add of this, you get a different effect. All right, so far this is what it looks like with just a slight mist of a little bit, like a slight hint of the Hypersilver. So if you wanted to do a wheel that had this black chrome type of look to it, you'd only need a very small amount. But you can see I barely sprayed some in there, and it's already taken some kind of color. So again, you'll get a different effect if you use white or all sorts of different colors. So, all right, so let's continue. All right, so there you have it. I decided to go ahead and scuff the center inserts and then clear coat everything all together. Now you may argue, you may be wondering, oh, is the paint going to stick? Well, the clear coat is dry, but it's not cured. The minute it comes in contact with any type of solvent, especially the one from the Hypersilver, is going to create a chemical bond. So once I spray that clear coat on, it's still going to react the minute it comes in contact with, fresh clear. So that will be the next step. So yeah, I'm going to scuff up their center inserts, and I'm going to clear everything all together so that we have the same gloss on everything. So, but there it is. I love using this Hypersilver. It's very versatile. You can do a lot of things with it, a lot of different finishes with it, and especially the black chrome that you can get with what's black chrome in a sense, not necessarily like an actual chrome. They do have some stuff that's actually more reflective than this. I'll be doing some projects with that as well. All right, so I am going to go ahead and get those little things scuffed with some gray Scotch-Brite. The next thing you'll be seeing is everything getting clear coated. So all right, so we're ready for the final clear coat. All right, so there it is. The wheel is finally finished, and we're just gonna let this cure one day, and it'll be mounted back on the car. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please comment below. Do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you guys on the next video.